And while I am here in this space, this is Sunday, no hair, no makeup, kind of low-key kind of day, but it has been on my mind. I am reading comment after comment of people saying, Dana, I'm having a really hard time hanging in there. It just feels like it's getting darker and darker, and it's hard for me to stay with the light, and I don't know what to do, and I've given up hope. And I want to give a shout out to you and say, I see you, I hear you. This is not easy stuff. And I would agree, like, especially with the last few videos, I've been pushing the light pretty good, simply because I'm just really excited from what I see. But I think the first thing I want to say is, if that makes you feel like I am putting pressure on you to get to the light field, like, I want to take that pressure off. That's not what it's meant for. What it is meant for is just to let you know from an energetic dynamic perspective what is happening right now. That's all. I want to go back to some of my previous videos that I've done about, we can't push or force the light, because then that turns into toxic positivity, and that's not really a healthy thing. So I want to give a nod and let you know that I understand this is very difficult time, especially when you're feeling like you're not in a good place to be able to actually get to a good place. So I just want to recognize that. That's number one. Number two, as I've been thinking about this, I had one of those aha moments. I was like, we need to recognize that we're going through a historically traumatizing time for the collective. We need to name it and say what we're all going through right now is collective trauma. We're all here in the United States. We're experiencing a collective trauma event. And yes, there are people internationally who are also experiencing a collective trauma event, because what all this is doing is we're seeing what has historically been known as a typically democratic country do an about face and have literally a takeover. Like, as far as I'm concerned, this is a takeover by other entities trying to turn the United States into a fascist puppet government. It is scary. It is traumatizing. It is disorienting. And I don't think there are enough of us talking about and holding a safe haven for people who are experiencing that trauma. So my number two here is, I just want to voice that. We're going through trauma. We're going through collective trauma. I don't think we've ever seen on a global scale the kind of coup, kind of takeover, and I'm going to put in there seemingly, that seems to be happening right now. And yeah, it's very, very upsetting. Then the third part that I want to make a nod to, where I've talked about in previous videos, the feeling of your feels. Did a video previously about when you're in a challenging space and triggered, part of the process is to feel your feels. I want to give a shout out to those of you who are triggered and having challenges, that it's okay to feel your feels. And a lot of times when you feel your feels, then once you do that, you can process those feelings a little bit better and then get to a better space. And so if you feel like you're incredibly challenged and you're having a hard time getting to a good space, that's important to give a nod to. And maybe part of the process is feeling the feels and getting really honest about how you feel about things, so that then you can process that emotion. And once you process that emotion through your body, then you can begin to arrive into a new space, so that you can give yourself conscious, logical, and emotionally intelligent choices. Kind of the fourth space that I wanted to land on with this goes back to number two, which is that whole thing about, oh my God, we're all experiencing collective trauma, seeing what seems to be like a takeover, a complete about face of the American government. It occurred to me in my spidey sense today, as I was like taking care of dogs and running around and kind of doing some stuff, in the back of my head, something was burbling, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, past lifetime triggers triggering now, concerning the types of things that we're experiencing. So it occurred to me, like, some people get into the comments and they're like, Dana, I'm good. I'm in a good spot. I'm seeing the whole thing. I'm vibing. Like, I'm staying in the light. Like, there's some people who are doing pretty good. And then there's some people who are teeter-tottering. And then there's some people who are like not doing really well at all. And so I want to put out like this kind of creative spiritual idea, because I had this moment today of like, oh. And here's the thing, past lifetime, cellular coding in our bodies from past lifetimes of having lived through things like World War II and fascism, like especially if your cellular coding is connected into Europe and you lived through things in Germany or Italy or Russia or London, bombings in London. Like if you had a past lifetime through World War II that's pretty recent and that's sitting in your body or familial lineage, you might have a lot of cellular coding recall coming up right now, considering the current events that are happening right now. So I want you to take a look at that so that you can maybe get on and do a little bit of your healing work, because all of this that is coming up in the shadow is causing us not only now, but connected into past lifetimes and connected into familial lineage to be able to be present with some of the things that may have happened in the past that's still sitting in our body that has not been taken care of. Like for me personally, my grandfather Newbie, my mom's dad, he fought in Battle of the Bulge, World War II. He was a combat veteran, hand-to-hand combat in the Army during World War II. And I can tell you, I have had so many wartime flashbacks come through the cellular coding of my body where I could have sworn to God I was on the battlefield with my grandfather Newbie when he was engaged in hand-to-hand combat in Europe during World War II. This shit is real. So I am merely bringing this up as an awareness that you, like, if you're conscious and you're like, I want to get to the light and I'm having a really hard time and I've lost a lot of hope and oh my God, I want you to go down a little bit of that cellular code memory lane and check in and see, is some of the trigger that's going on right now, is it yours? Or is it family members? Or is it past lifetime that is now coming up and asking for attention to be cleared and healed? It might be. And it might not be yours. Now, see, I've had the experience and the advantage of working my spiritual path for 23 years, and a lot of this stuff has come up. I've had really gnarly stuff come up with incest from the family line. Like some of this stuff is really burbled up out of my body. And so I have a really deep awareness of this. And so when I see things like the salute that Stupid E has done and the things that Trump has done, like when I see some of the stupid stuff that they're doing on a national platform that is re-engaging some of that really, really old stuff, I have a way to monitor through my body of like, ooh, that's pinging the radar with some really old places in my body that are maybe not really mine, and they may belong to my grandfather, my grandparents, people who saw World War II and World War I and a Great Depression. These things are getting triggered out of our bodies right now. So I'm just here on a Sunday afternoon, going to post this on a Monday, little bit of voice of reason, little bit of voice of calm, saying, maybe not put so much pressure on yourself about getting to the light, and, because Dana's all gung-ho about that, and oh my God, I got to get there. No, you don't. You get there in your own time and your way. I'm just very excited about it, and I just want to let everybody know. What's more important is that you monitor where you're at in your spiritual path and healing path with your own experiences, with the great shifting that's going on right now, and you monitor what you can do, when you can do it, what's right for you. Remember the whole discerning thing. And I even came up with an idea of like, Dana, it might not be a bad idea to let people know that you need to check in with your spirit team, and you need to talk with your spirit team about what is right for you as far as how much with the light and connecting in with the light field, or do I need to be doing healing work, or do I need downtime, or do I need to do a reality check with what I see on the screen? And you could even talk with your spirit team about percentages, like where am I at percentage wise now with my mental emotional health, with where I'm at with the light, with where I'm at with what I see going on, like percentage wise, where am I at with some of these? Like begin to set up a grid, like percentage wise, where are you at with some of this stuff? And then talk with your team about gradually the direction that you want to move. That is right for you. Everything that I'm bringing up, this is me just doing spiritual coaching, stream of consciousness, ideas channeling on a Sunday afternoon, just to kind of kick out some ideas, kick some stones over, maybe give us some food for thought of things that we haven't thought about. I'm just putting it out there for food for thought. And if there's other people out there, like if you're watching this and you have ideas that you kind of want to give a shout out to help other folks, like that's what we need. That's what we need to be doing right now. Treat this kind of like a brainstorm, spiritual storm to give people ideas for coping mechanisms so that folks can get the support that they need at this very intense time right now. That's what I'm going to leave with you for now, and make sure you keep taking one step after another so you can meet the miracles along the way, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah.